Well, here we are. My name is Shane A. Bassett. I'm the movie analyst, your host, and I'm speaking to my fellow Australian and friend, Mercy Cornwall, 1 year later after
One year later.
Great to see you again.
You too, Shane. Thanks for having me.
What's happened in your life as an actor since Mistletoe Ranch was released? We'll talk about it again today because it's now available to rent or buy on digital platforms. But 1 year on, as an actor, have you matured? Have you changed much? It was your first feature.
Mm. It was. Look, it's been a really interesting time since Mistletoe Ranch. Obviously, it's against the backdrop of, the pandemic's changed a lot since then. And I
Yeah.
mean, we filmed Mistletoe kind of during the height of COVID in Queensland. And then the writing strike and acting strike. And so it's been a really interesting time this past year as an actor. But I guess what it's kind of made me do is look for joy and inspiration outside of acting and not just like put everything into this career and focus on that.
Yeah.
It's about looking for inspiration elsewhere. And I think that's been a really good thing for me, and has been really helpful in turn in my career as an actor.
So, how have the reactions been? Have people contacted you, agents, or have you found it easier to get auditions or parts since that role?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, every credit under an actor's belt is, a step towards the next thing, and I feel really proud to be able to say that I've, not carried a show because a movie because I had so many amazing people around me, but to have the pressure of sort of being the lead in that. I feel proud that I can say I did that, and I hope it puts me in good stead with other roles. And yeah, I think it potentially has. It's certainly given me more confidence, stepping up to the plate a little bit more.
Yeah, oh, that's really good to hear. And when we spoke the first time, I mentioned Georgia May Davis said hello. Well,
Yeah,
I bumped into her again.
did you?
Ironically, I on Monday, her and I caught up at a screening, which was good.
Yeah.
Anyone but you in Sydney.
Yes.
Yes. So
Oh,
I
fantastic.
just coincidentally, we're talking again the same week.
Yeah.
I caught up with Georgia May.
That's so funny. We keep doing that. Actually, Georgia and May and I just we just messaged each other the other day yesterday. So
How cool.
yeah, she's so awesome. She's one of the funniest people I know. So cheeky. Yeah.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah.
I hope you get to work together again soon.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yes, yes. Maybe I'll ask a little bit about what's coming up shortly. But firstly, Mistletoe Ranch. I mean, it's become quite popular. Any Steve Jaggy movie normally does.
Mm.
The producer, of course. Now it's available to rent or buy on digital platforms. Do you think, or would you like to see it get a physical media release as well?
I think so. I think there's something quite nostalgic about having a physical media release, especially with a Christmas film.
Yeah.
But it's popping up in places that I didn't realize it would pop up, and I think it's on, Emirates flights. People can watch it on Emirates flights. I think it's streaming on Paramount Plus in the US,
Yeah.
which is really cool. That's opened up quite a big audience. And yeah, here on demand on Prime and Apple. So I think my brother he hasn't seen it yet, and he wants to watch it with me. On Sorry, I've just lost you for a second there, Shane.
Oh, okay.
You there? Sorry, I
Yep.
think my mom called me and it came through on my on my laptop. I was like, sorry,
We're destined to be doomed during our
chatting to
chats.
Shane. I know. She'll be mortified. I won't tell her. Yeah, I think it's on demand here, on Prime and on Apple. So I'll be watching it with my brother. He's determined to watch it with me, even though I hate watching myself on screen. But
Oh.
yeah, I think we'll do that Christmas Eve, which should be nice.
If you saw someone watching it and you're on a flight and they were watching it and you were sitting behind them or whatever, would you approach them and say anything? Or
Oh God, no! I would cringe. I would hide as much as I could. But I think if I was with my mom, she would definitely say something, or
right,
someone else. But no, I'd be quite touched and excited that someone could be watching it. But I
yeah,
definitely wouldn't make myself known. Oh my gosh.
I actually didn't think you would, but I had to ask, especially when you said it's on Emirates flights. What do you miss about the set? I'm sure you miss the snow machines in
Yes,
particular.
Oh yes, I loved having potatoes stuck in my hair all day and potato skin and foam. No, that was really special. It really did set the scene and make it quite a magical experience. But I think what I miss the most is I made some of my best friends on that set. Geordie Webber, who played James, is one of my closest friends, and um, it's been a tricky year career-wise, personal-wise.
Oh, yeah.
He's just been really yeah, wonderful checking in with me. He sends me the funniest, sweetest videos, just Geordie being Geordie in the most Geordie possible way.
Oh,
And of course, there's Molly Bell Wright and her gorgeous mum, Ali. The rest of the cast, they're all wonderful. Ellie Popov, Trent Ellis, Winnie's amazing.
yeah.
I could just keep naming everyone. The writer, Georgia Harrison is amazing, and Rhiannon Vandenberg, who I worked with before on Dive Club. So
Yeah, yeah.
I miss that team, that family that you really do make, even though you're making this film in such a short time. I guess you kind of go through a lot together, long
Sure.
hours, and you really do need each other to sort of put something quite lovely together. So yeah, definitely the team.
Well, you've answered my question, because I was wondering if you caught up with many of them or you stay in contact, but you just answered it.
Yeah.
You basically made a family out of it. That's great.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's hard. We all kind of live in different places now, but definitely, if we're in the same city, we'll catch up for sure.
And did the strike affect you directly? I mean, how did you cope? It was a tough time. It went for a long period. Were you okay during that period? Were you allowed to do certain work in Australia, or were you overseas at the time?
I was in Australia. It was an interesting time. I mean, I just signed with my agency in the US, probably off the back of Mistletoe, and I was really excited to potentially, see what that market has in store for me. And then, everything sort of shut down. And I definitely did see ripple effects in the Australian industry as well.
Sure. Yeah.
There were some projects that, I was sort of close to, a couple callbacks for, and just never heard what happened to them. And I think they were
Oh,
kind of, fell through the cracks of the strikes, which was hard. You start getting excited and you start thinking about potentially working overseas.
yeah.
And then that didn't happen. But at the same time, I'm just, it was for a really good cause. I mean, pay your actors, pay your writers, pay them properly.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, exactly.
so, I can't be too disappointed, because at the end of the day, it's for a really good cause. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. I mean, there was a lot of hurt, but there's
Yeah.
light at the end of that tunnel. And I was so happy for the actors who fought hard, and the writers in particular who started it all.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, me too.
Now, Mistletoe Christmas is a magical Christmas film. I've seen it twice. Last time we spoke, I rewatched it again for
You've seen it more than I have, Shane.
is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm quite dedicated to whoever I'm talking to, and the subjects. So I wanted to, catch up.
Yeah.
And I was impressed the first couple of times, but rewatching it again, your singing is so good. Have you been
No.
keeping up that singing during the year?
I have actually.
Oh, good.
Um, I just found it, and this is going to be the most actory artist thing I say, but it's kind of
Oh,
like I know, but it's kind of like it's like a journal. It's like just really kind of therapeutic to just sing and play guitar, and that's kind of been my little escape thing to do,
yeah.
which I've really loved. I have a wonderful singing partner. Her name is Mia, and we've been singing together since we were 16.
Oh,
And
wow.
she's over
Okay.
in Sydney as well, and I'm living in Sydney, and so we've joined up a few times, but it's never been for anything professional. It's just purely for our little creative souls.
You should see if you can get a busking permit in Sydney and busk, see how much extra money, extra cash you can
True. That's true. I mean, when we were growing up in Perth, we used to do like a lot of weddings and
Oh, great.
yeah, parties and markets. So we actually did a little stint on The Voice when we were about 17 as well, which didn't end up great, but it was a cool, nice little experience. Yeah.
Well, that would have helped you develop a little bit just by getting that experience.
Yeah. I mean, we were
Attempting.
flying across the country and meeting producers, and it was just like a nice little way into the industry, like, but still within sort of, a safe sort of environment with our parents around and all that sort of stuff. So it was good.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's really, really good to hear. A lot of singers can give it up when they start doing another career, but I'm glad that you're mixing both, and hopefully you
Yeah.
might be in a musical at some point.
I would love that.
I hope so.
Yeah.
And what is it lately? I mean, it's always been the case, I think, but what is it lately with the talent that's coming out of Perth?
Mm.
Yourself, Freya Tingley, who I spoke to for the first time not so long ago, with her career starting to bloom. The Langford
Mm.
sisters are from
Mm.
there. Jessica DeGale, of course,
Yep.
is amazing. Jess is so good. I've been talking to her for years, and she's
Yep.
just gone further and further. Is there
Yeah, she's
something
amazing.
about Perth or what?
I don't know. It is so interesting. I mean, I could, Charmaine Bingwa is one of my favorites. Devon Terrell, he's amazing. I think Olivia de Jong went to school here.
She
There's
did. That's
just
correct.
so
Yeah.
many
Yeah.
people, so many people I could list, and so many people that I've been so lucky to be inspired by. I mean, initially I didn't think, Perth is such a relatively small city on the other side of the country, and I didn't really think that an industry, a career in the industry was viable. But to be surrounded by so many young people who have taken that leap of faith, and it definitely encouraged me. I mean, I was chatting to Freya the other night. She's become a really good friend of mine. She actually went to the same high school as I did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but
That's
a
good.
couple years ahead. And I was saying to her, like, I felt really lucky that I had. She was in the same house as me in school as well. So I had this person, this peer, who was a couple years ahead, just being brave and doing this acting thing. And I don't know if I would have ever taken that leap if she hadn't kind of paved that way for me.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, a really nice thing to say, and I know you mean it, and you're all everyone sticks together in our industry anyway. But if you're from the same area or the same town or the same school, of course you got to stick together. That's great.
I think there's just a good attitude here of lifting each other up,
Mm.
and being mutually inspired by each other to be creative. And I think it's quite sort of synonymous with yeah.
And of course, I don't know if he's still over there, but the great Nicolas Cage has been over in
Yes.
WA filming his latest movie.
Yes. So cool. I had a few friends on that project, and they said he was a wonderful person to work with. And yeah, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, well, from the stories I've heard from the Triple M stations that I'm on in WA, and they've been saying that he's been sighted and getting selfies. And I mean, I wouldn't
Yeah.
expect Nicolas Cage not to do stuff like that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's wonderful. Yeah, he's such an incredible actor to watch, and it's really cool that we could say that he filmed
Yeah.
here for a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. I hope the movie's good. That's
Yeah, me
the
too.
main thing. Now, this is an unofficial thing that I always say, but it's kind of true. Once you've worked with producer Steve Jaggy, you normally work with him on more than one occasion.
Yeah,
And you've worked with him a couple of times at
I
least.
have.
Has he
Yeah.
been calling you lately for anything else? Maybe, and I've got to ask this, Dive Club season 2
Two.
potentially?
Oh, Shane, I think we're all getting a bit old for that.
Yeah, maybe the older years, Dive
We
Club, the
could,
adult
yeah,
the
they could
adult years.
fast forward a couple of years. Yeah. No, I think unfortunately the doors have closed on Dive Club. As much
Yeah.
as we wanted it to go ahead, it was just a really tricky time with natural disasters and pandemics and strikes, and we just kind of had all these things that
Yeah.
were obstacles in making season 2. I mean, I still get multiple messages a day like, hey, when's season 2 happening? I don't know how to tell anyone, but we feel really lucky that people really embrace the show like that.
Yeah.
We would all love to do a season 2, but I think I just think we've had to sort of put that to bed. But we're all really excited about what's next for us all, and it's really nice seeing my cast members go on and do some other amazing things.
Of course.
Yeah, so and in terms of Steve, I mean, I'd love to work with Steve again. I've my first ever role was Izzy in Dive Club, and that was a really daunting experience, and he trusted me with that, and then trusted me again with Mistletoe Ranch, and so I'm really grateful. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good to hear. And I mean, you're right about Dive Club. And sometimes I think you don't want follow-ons or sequels. That one-off condensed show or a
Yeah.
movie, whatever it is a one-off. And I like that sometimes.
Me too. Me too. Just
Yeah,
nice, tie it up with a little bow, and we can, really love it for what it is, and we didn't have
sure.
to go on and jump the shark or anything.
I had to ask because I know there's a lot of fans out there as well, including myself. I actually loved the show, as you know. Now, since we last spoke, what new skills do you think you've learned? Have you learned or picked up any new skills in the last year that you didn't have a year ago?
Well, we were talking before about having. Sorry, my dog's about to bark. Don't you bark? We were talking before about having to look for inspiration outside of acting, and a big part of my sort of story is that I studied history and law, but I preferred history.
Yeah,
And I went on and started my master's in museum studies and heritage studies at Sydney Uni. And I started working sort of in a casual role at the Art Gallery of New South Wales. So I've really, gone into sort of the art history side and the, you know, curatorial studies side, which I've really enjoyed. And I think, and you'll like this, I was trying to think, why did I want to study this? And I think it's Rachel Weisz's character from The Mummy.
I love that, Annalise.
Right.
That is such a great connection.
Or
Why not?
speaking of Nicolas Cage, Diane Kruger's character from National Treasure.
Yeah, another
Yeah.
one.
Another one. Yeah. So I could say I love history and that's why I want to do it, but I think I was probably inspired by these characters, to be honest.
That is so cool. I can send
Yeah.
you a whole list of characters, of actors who have played great museum characters, if you like.
Yes, please do.
I love making lists. That's really cool because I think the museum industry in itself is very unique, and people in it are passionate. So that's terrific that you've got that position that you can do other things at the same time. But I'm really happy to hear that. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
If you could have a Christmas miracle happen in 2024, what would you like it to be to you?
Ooh. I mean, there's obviously a lot of hurt going on in the world right now.
Oh, of course.
Um, I would say something. I don't want to dive into it too much or get too political, but I think
Sure.
that there's a lot of hurt going on, and I think if there is any way that we could stop that hurt, that would be my Christmas miracle.
Totally. If I agree, and yeah, it's tough to talk about, but it's there.
Yeah.
If you could manifest maybe a Christmas miracle for your career in 2024, what would you like it to be?
Ooh. I mean, I'm starting off with a really good one. I'm about to start a pretty amazing TV series. But I think in terms of what I've always, I mean, if I'm going to marry the history and the museum studies, I think maybe something period would be really cool. Just because I love historical research and I love like delving into that side of characters and looking at the context of the world and what's happening at the time and how that affects the characterization, and so probably something period
All
would be
right.
my
Well, maybe
miracle.
maybe we can work on like a female Indiana Jones style
Yeah,
Australian adventurer
done.
who loves history in a
Let's get it.
period setting.
Let's make this, Shane. This sounds like gold.
I'm all over it, and that'd be awesome. So what's next for you? I know what is coming up, but what can you tell us at this stage about what's up for you next? I know some big things are happening in 2024.
I have to be really careful what I say because there
Sure.
hasn't been any releases yet. But I guess all I can say is that I'm really excited for this series. It's a really sort of poignant and moving story with still lots of comedic elements as well, but
Yeah.
I think it's quite profound in its message.
Yep.
And it's set against the backdrop of the time and place where people were quite divided. And unfortunately, that time wasn't that long ago, and that place was Australia. So,
Sure.
so it's I really sort of important story. It got really windy here. Now you can tell I'm in Perth. It's just a really important story and something that I'm going to be really proud of when I'm making it. And the cast that they've assembled and the creative team are really wonderful. So yeah.
Is it challenging your acting ability?
Yeah, it is actually. The character is quite different to the characters that I've played in the past. You know, when I played Izzy and Amy, they're quite sort of like enthusiastic and spirited and sweet, and you know, and this character is, she's got a bit more spice. She's a little bit more confrontational, which I've always struggled with. I think it's actually going to be quite good for me personally to learn how to sort of stand up for what I think, and whether, you know, the character, what she thinks is not necessarily right or the nice thing to think, but you know, at least she has confidence in herself to speak up, and I'm quite excited to explore that side of her. Yeah.
Well, I look forward to hearing more, all in due time. But if you're in it, I'm assuming it's going to be high quality stuff. So what you're describing sounds very interesting.
Yeah.
There is one other sort of like a small independent action movie you're in. Is that right?
Just a little one.
Yeah,
just a little one. I think it's called Godzilla vs Kong.
Yes, it certainly is.
I think I can talk about that. It's on IMDb, and yeah, I can talk about that. It's on IMDb.
We can keep
it's out in the world.
We can keep it
it's
basic.
out in the world.
Yeah.
I signed a heavy NDA. I can't really say too much, but it's yeah, I just have a really little role in that. But it was still really cool. I mean, I was a, you know, massive fan of Downton Abbey when I was a teenager, and Dan Stevens is you know, one of the leads in Kong, and to be on the same project as him and was really cool for me, and to see, you know, the cast board, to see his head shot up there and mine near it, like just run underneath him. I was like, well, that's so cool.
Was Dan one of your scene partners?
No, he wasn't. No, I didn't get to work with Dan, but just to be in the same cast was pretty cool. But yeah, just to see that scale of creativity and the people that come together to make something so epic is really cool, and predominantly Australian in terms of crew and cast as well. So that was a really cool thing to be a part of.
Yeah, you know, these independent movies, they need you know, they need some publicity. So I'm glad that we can talk about it ahead of its release. Now, I said 3 questions to you when we last spoke, and the same deal here. Just the first thing that comes to your mind.
I was so bad at this last time. Do you remember?
I remember I asked you, can you surf? And you went, ish.
Ish.
That was pretty funny. Okay, ready?
Yep.
The last movie that you watched?
Just been watching series lately. What was the last movie? Oh, Saltburn.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Very confronting. I've seen it, of course.
Yeah.
On a film or a TV set, what can you not do without?
First thing that came to my head was moisturizer. I think because I've been working in far north Queensland, you know. What can I live without? Lip balm.
Yeah. Well, that's moisturizer for our lips.
Moisturizer for your lips. Yeah.
And it's painless, but here's the last one.
Yeah.
If you were a boxer or a wrestler, what song would you come out to the ring to? You're going to enter the ring and the song's playing.
Yeah.
What would it be?
Yeah. Ooh. Probably Bad Blood by Taylor Swift.
Oh, well, that's very appropriate.
Vigilante shit by Taylor Swift.
Okay, well, they're both very appropriate at the moment. She's had a big year.
Oh, she's awesome, and I'm a proud Swiftie, and I don't care what anyone says.
Oh, that's cool. Did you go and see her film, and did you get up and dance? Was it that kind of session when you saw it?
I didn't go to her film. I'm going to her concert, so I didn't want to spoil anything. I actually spoke to my agents when I found out I was filming this series, and it potentially conflicted with Taylor's concert. And I said to them, I was like, I need to be free on this day. So luckily I've got a good chunk of time where I can head back to Sydney and see my girl perform. So
Oh,
yeah,
great. No, a lot of people were saying that to me, Mercy, or they didn't want to go to the movie because they were going to the
the
concert.
concert.
But she would adjust a lot of concerts to wherever she is. So some of it
Yeah,
would be the same, but I reckon some of
that's
it would
true.
probably be different too.
That's true. Yeah, yeah. Not too
So
many spoilers.
mistletoe Christmas. To wrap it up, in case we've done all this conversation and we've touched on it here and there, but what can you tell viewers about it? I mean, I thought it was a terrific Australian-made film. Of course, it was an American Christmas movie filmed in Queensland, which was quite funny. But what can you tell people to entice them to watch it, do you think?
Um, I mean, I think it's just I think what Rhiannon Vandenberg, our director, said she set out to make, and I think she nailed it in terms of the brief, was just like a classic, nostalgic Christmas film that anyone could watch. Little kids to grandparents, it's something that the whole family can sit around and watch. And I really like that. I think sometimes these Christmas rom-coms cop a bit of flack because they're, can be considered cheesy, but I think it's also important just to realize that entertainment doesn't have to be gritty and exciting all the time. Sometimes it can just be wholesome and
Yeah.
sweet. And, I think last year this is probably more relevant. And this is my first Christmas back in Perth, actually, and I haven't because of the pandemic.
Oh,
And
that's amazing.
so I think especially in a time where so many of us couldn't be with our loved ones at Christmas time, I think it reminded us all of the importance of that, as cheesy as that sounds. But yeah.
I have a feeling your mum on Christmas night is going to put that on while everyone's there.
Oh my gosh, probably. My brother's going to make me watch it Christmas Eve as well. So it's just going
Ah,
to
there
be on
you go.
repeat this Christmas season, Shane. Oh, goodness.
What do you think your character Amy Tremblay is up to now? A year later, we know what
Mhm.
Mercy's up to, but she was a very forthright character. You'll get to know her quite well when you watch the movie. But what do you think she's doing a year later herself?
Yeah. I mean, I'd have to ask ask the writer. She'd probably have a bit more idea, but I think she would be well, she'd be living on the ranch,
Yep,
and she'd be happily with James, but she'd also have her career as well.
yep,
Um, so I think she'd be taking photos of the community in the
yeah.
town, and just also probably taking the horses out every day, go for a ride.
Well, speaking of horses, have you learnt to ride properly yet?
No, I promised our director I would by now. Um,
You
I mean,
told me too.
I really wanted to be good at it, but they do make me a little nervous, and I felt, my horse, whose name was Rugsy on Mistletoe Ranch, and horses are really intuitive and they really react to they're humans, and unfortunately for Rugsy, all my scenes with him were just kind of my character Amy yelling at James, and so he
Yeah.
kind of just thought this crazy lady yelling at people all the time. So maybe I need to meet another horse with a different, when I'm not acting and I'm not being a bit intense. Maybe I need to try that again. So I'll let you know. Maybe this time next year I'll tell you and I'll be like, I'm really good now, Shane.
Well, I hope we make this at least an annual thing now. Like
That sounds good.
it's working for us.
We'll have no teeth and we'll be speaking about Christmas films in 80 years' time.
Look, I'll be watching movies and talking about them until the end of time, so I don't mind. That'd be great.
Sounds good.